Glitches, they're the foundation of most speedruns. They could be as drastic as save file manipulation or as small as item duplication. And while a lot of focus in the speedrun community is on what these glitches can do for a run, few people ask how the glitches were found, which is arguably where the more interesting story lies, like the topic of today's video. We're going to go over how the discovery of a 14-year-old YouTube video led to not just a near hour-long time save in one of this game's most gruesome categories, but also how it spawned a category of its own. This is the story of LEGO Indiana Jones: The Original Adventures Billionaire Glitch. There's one thing better than being a billionaire in a video game, and that's being a billionaire in real life. But it's hard to make all the money you need when you're constantly stuck paying off those pesky student loans. And that's where today's sponsor, Brilliant, comes into play. I'm sure a lot of you watching this are planning on going to college, but aren't sure if you're quite ready for the post-high school workload, and that's totally fine. I was the same way. The difference here, though, is that I didn't have access to Brilliant. It's an online learning program offering a variety of different subjects and is hands down the best way to learn what you need to know. The thing that I love about Brilliant is just how hands-on it really is. You have to be able to absorb what you're learning, and that can sometimes be hard in a classroom. Maybe your instructor moves too fast or too slow, and it takes you out of the experience. I promise you, you will not have that same issue with Brilliant. Not to mention, you'd be getting a bang for your buck with this deal, as you will never run out of content. Brilliant is constantly updating with new lessons monthly, with plenty to do, even if you just want to stick to a single subject. Learn the way you want to, by clicking my link brilliant.org/BD1P, and the first 200 of you will get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Just 30 minutes a day can make you a stronger thinker. Thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Across the board in the LEGO speedrun scene, every game has a similar collection of categories, normally displayed as any percent, free play, all mini-kits, and 100%. But along with those are a subset of category extensions. These extensions are reserved for runs of the game that may have specific goals in mind that deviate from the normal completion path, such as Star Wars %, which sees the player completing all unique requirements to unlock Han Solo. But where LEGO Indiana Jones differed from the other earlier LEGO games in the series was the exclusion of a maxed stud category. In most earlier games, there was a maximum value assigned to how many studs the player could hold, hovering at 4 billion studs. You don't get anything special for having this many studs in-game, but players thought it would be fun to try and fill up that meter as fast as they could, which spawned max stud categories in two of the earliest TT games: LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga and LEGO Batman 1. Despite Indiana Jones being released right in between those two games, the category remained non-existent for quite some time. Why was this? Well, the process of getting to max studs usually revolves around finding the red brick extras in-game. These are hidden collectibles that augment certain aspects of the gameplay, from visual gags like disguise to making you full-on invincible. There are also ones that give you stud multipliers, those being ×2, ×4, ×6, ×8, and ×10, which, yes, all stack together. Optimally, you'd want to find the quickest way to get as many multipliers as you can, then pick a level that gives you a ton of studs throughout and replay it over and over until you hit 4 billion. But LEGO Indiana Jones was a bit different. Both LEGO Star Wars and LEGO Batman had vehicle levels, which auto-collect studs into your total without you having to go out of your way to pick them up. This allows for you to rack up money to purchase the multipliers pretty quickly. LEGO Batman also had the added benefit of multiplying your studs based on the amount of enemies you've hit, which caps at 10, giving you an extra 10 times on top of any other red brick multipliers you might have already had turned on. These factors alone make the grind for 4 billion studs much more manageable, with both world records sitting around 1.5 hours give or take. But LEGO Indiana Jones 1 doesn't have this. It doesn't have combat multipliers, vehicle levels, or any quick way to grind out studs, leading to a decreased interest in the category as a whole. Hell, the other games even have dedicated stud multiplier zones that are left out completely in LEGO Indie. In fact, in the 100% route of this game, runners realized that the fastest way to get all the studs they'd need to purchase characters and extras for free play is just to play through the game's story mode and route in extra high-valued studs along the way. That's it. There was little to no optimization. Well, almost none. Because things were about to change. Around 2 months ago, I started research for a LEGO Indiana Jones World Record History video, which is coming out mid-January for those who care. And while scouring through old GameFAQ and Speed Demo Archive forums, I came across surprisingly little. There was somehow more relating to LEGO Indy 2 than there was for LEGO Indy 1. And the only reference to any glitches in the game weren't ones that would matter at all in the any % route. Such as this one, which claims to give you an instant 4 billion studs into your combined total. While this would again add nothing to the history of the any % category, since no extras were ever used in the run, I should have by all accounts just kept reading. But curiosity got the better of me, and I checked it out anyways.
And it is June the 5th, 2008, 7:30 a.m. We're showing the profile of Muslim Jedi. This is the profile that my daughters use, and they have achieved the mysterious billionaire glitch, or what I think may be a glitch in Indiana Jones. Some people tend to be a little bit suspicious of photographs, so we thought we'd show some video evidence of the claim here. As you can see, that's what their stats are at the bottom in terms of how many treasures they've got. They haven't even achieved any of the adventurer status. And if you look at the top here, you can see the score has come down. It is now 3,999,646,840 on the stud count. And that's it. We haven't entered any codes. We don't have any. And you can even see once we go around to the code room, there's nothing that shows up that anything strange there. And that's about it, folks. If anybody has any other input, questions, or what they think may have caused them to get such a huge score so quickly, something I haven't been able to achieve on my own profile, then your comments and thoughts and theories are welcome. Peace.
I'm a pretty skeptical person, and as somebody who grew up in the Unlock Master Hand and Super Smash Bros. Melee age of the internet, I kind of just assumed this was a hoax. But something felt authentic about this recording. Maybe it was the countless documentations of the same thing happening to other players' games, or the poster commenting, "Peace be upon you," in reply to every comment. But I decided to look deeper. Deeper and deeper still. Let's first discuss what's going on in these videos. Multiple players reported that after playing through a level and going to buy an artifact piece from the library, they would randomly just have 4 billion studs, the game's maximum. They didn't have any multipliers on, they hadn't even beaten the game's story yet. But by buying an artifact piece, they became a billionaire. Now immediately, I noticed some key similarities between each poster. Every single one of them was playing on a console version of the game. Each one of them picked up 1 to 2 artifacts from a given level in story mode, then went to purchase the rest. Upon picking up a stud, they would be put to the maximum. So, as any person would, I got to testing. I started a new file, played through level 1, grabbed 3 mini-kits, finished, and then bought the artifact piece. I held my breath and... nothing. Okay, well, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I had too many mini-kits. Nope, same thing. Huh. Well, maybe it's a console-exclusive glitch. I mean, there's plenty of those in this game. I texted my friend Ella to try it for herself on the Xbox One, and again, nothing. Was this really all just some elaborate hoax? No, there had to be something I was missing. Then it hit me. Every single user who had this happen to them was playing in co-op. This had to be the key, the final piece that I was missing. Well, only one way to find out. It works. I should have never doubted you, son of Adam. Alright, so we know that the glitch does in fact work, but I guess a better question would be, how does the glitch work? For that, I'll have the current any percent, max stud, and 100% record holder take it from here.
Thanks, BDip. First, a little bit of programming theory. Just like any number value in any video game, the stud total has to be stored somewhere in the game's memory. LIJ1 stores this in an unsigned 32-bit integer value, meaning that its value can only be interpreted as a positive whole number stored as 32 individual binary bits. This kind of value ranges from 0 up to just under 4.3 billion. At the lowest level in a computer's code, these values are interpreted in binary across 32 individual bits that can hold either a 0 or a 1, with 0 being represented as 32 zeros all the way up to 4.3 billion, represented as 32 ones. Now, the fact that this value doesn't support negative numbers is important, because if you subtract 1 from an unsigned integer with a value of 0, something known as integer overflow occurs. With the case of 0 minus 1, instead of getting negative 1, the integer would wrap around to its maximum value, that 4.3 billion number. So, how does all this apply to LIJ1? Usually, if a game has an intended system that could result in a value going lower or higher than its minimum or maximum value, the developers will put in checks to ensure that doesn't happen. And the LEGO developers do have a check that ensures the stud total doesn't go above 4 billion through normal gameplay, by ignoring any studs collected once the player reaches 4 billion. If you try to purchase one of those artifacts that BDip was talking about but don't have enough studs to do so, it just won't let you. And from the casual standpoint, that would be enough to get through gameplay testing. However, the system for purchasing these artifacts has a flaw when both players are called in. Instead of removing the cost of the artifact from the stud bank, it removes the cost from each player, resulting in double the cost being taken out of the player's stud total. And if the player happens to have a stud total that is between the cost of the artifact and double that cost, the transaction would mathematically result in a negative number, causing the total stud bank to overflow to the maximum value for that integer. Congratulations, you are a billionaire. This is very useful in the 100% and max studs categories, since there is no time-efficient way to grind out studs casually, and you do not get nearly enough studs to buy everything from a normal playthrough of the game. It does require a little bit of finesse though, since if you gather too many studs, double the cost of purchasing an artifact won't be enough to get the stud total negative. The max studs category aims to finish 1-1 with just barely over 10,000 studs, which is the cost of buying all 10 artifacts from 1-1. While the 100% category plays through the whole first episode, trying to finish between 36,000 and 66,000 studs before buying the artifacts for 1-1 and 1-2, with 6,000 needed for 1-1's artifact, and 30,000 needed for 1-2's. It's done like this just so Raiders doesn't need to be split into 2 visits, and so that there is a decent amount of flexibility in how many studs are picked up in that episode.
I doubt anyone who's watched my channel is surprised by the complexity of glitches found in LEGO games anymore, and if you want to see even more applications of glitches like these, be sure to check out Chimkin's channel down below, where he makes amazing videos covering the history and routing of LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga. But as mentioned, this integer overflow bug allowed for a lot of time save in the 100% category, which removed the need to revisit some levels 3 different times to get access to the proper extras. Previous to this bug being found, the record sat at a 3:33:37, and that was a fairly optimized world record. The first unoptimized run to be done with this billionaire glitch was a 3:04. And while all that time save is incredible and helped reinvigorate a new passion into the category, it also finally allowed LIJ to join its siblings with the creation of the Max Stud category, simultaneously making it the shortest Max Stud category across all LEGO games. While both the Complete Saga and Batman have runs that go well over an hour in length, in LEGO Indiana Jones's case, it's barely over 6 minutes. You didn't mishear me. In around 6 minutes, you can get 4 billion studs in this game, and it's not like it's even much different than the current any percent route. Normally, runners tend to avoid studs in level 1 of the game, because if they finish with 0, they're able to skip the stud tally in the end of the level information screen. They'll usually accomplish this 0 stud finish by jumping off the edge in the end of the level, or killing player 2 at opportune moments. But funnily enough, because you don't want to die in the max studs version of 1-1, it almost makes the level easier. Barely though, as the shorter a category or a game becomes, the more optimized each new record has to be. In fact, this run is almost at the point where players will be required to do spike skip in order to make any improvements, which is the hardest jump in the entire game. This leaves us in quite the interesting spot. As previously mentioned, both LEGO Star Wars and especially Batman released quite closely to LEGO Indiana Jones. And if this kind of overflow bug can occur here, it's possible that there might be something similar with either the data in LEGO Batman 1 or some other kind of purchasable in Star Wars, but I'll leave that for you guys to find. Don't forget to subscribe to both myself and Chimkin if you don't want to miss the upcoming full world record history video of LEGO Indiana Jones 1. It's gonna be a big one. But that's all I have for you guys today. I've been BD1P, and I'll see you in the next video.